Hey, superstars, how you doing? I'm your host, Aaron Zakowski, and today I'm chatting with Dave Rogenmoser. Dave is the CEO of Proof, a Y Combinator-backed startup helping over 3,000 companies to generate more leads, demos, and trials. Dave is also the host of the Scale or Die podcast. Hey, Dave, how you doing today?
Good, man. How are you
Awesome to
doing?
finally have you on the show.
Good to be here, man.
Yeah. I'd love to learn a little bit more about you guys and your company, Proof. Kind of tell us what you do. Just, I'm sure a lot of people already know because you're pretty active online and people know you already. But for those who don't, let us know what it's all about.
Yeah, so I guess I've been around for about 3 years now. Before Proof, we were, doing training and courses on marketing and conversion rate optimization and paid traffic and all that.
Yep.
And then turned it into, our knowledge into a marketing software that, basically helps people increase conversion rate. I feel like what we sell is conversion rate increase. And then maybe even better than that, what we sell is money. So we're just saying, hey, you pay us $100 a month, apply our tool in an hour, you're going to start getting $500 a month, easy trade. So we've always kind of had that mindset that like we sell money, we sell conversion rate increase. That works itself out in a variety of different tools and trainings.
Uh-huh.
But then they're like, if we can sell money, there's always going to be a place for us in the market. And so we're a team of 14 here in Austin, Texas.
Yep.
Here at the office now, pretty empty, but there's the view. And yeah, we're just having fun, building software and doing some trainings for our community.
Nice. So in terms of like the core product and software, like what does it do? How does it help people with increasing conversion rates?
Yeah, so we have two products. So one's Proof Pulse. That was the original product. That basically it's just a social proof pop-up that, pops up on your site and says 17 people are viewing this page right now, or Sally from LA just signed up 2 minutes ago. And it's just showing real live social proof that gives visitors confidence that this isn't a scam and that there's other people maybe like them that have just bought this thing. And I'm just trying to like bring some life to the website. So people put that on their site and they increase the conversion rate, huge range, but it's on an average of like 10 to 20% across our customers, which is pretty sweet and pretty easy to do.
Amazing.
And the second product we have is Proof Experiences. It's a website personalization platform. And so hook it up to your site, any site, and then depending on, which audience somebody falls into, they're going to see a different website experience. And so we're trying to help companies, move away from trying to manage dozens of funnels and landing pages and just tailor the core pages of their site that they have right there.
Nice. So you're the founder of the company, but by your heart you're a marketer, right? Like
Yeah,
that's
I
definitely
consider
your
myself a
background.
marketer.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I was reading a Facebook post you put on earlier this week, talking about your growth experience and just reading a little bit of it. Talking about you launched in 2017, right? And then you used Facebook ads to kind of grow tremendously after just kind of proving concept a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit of the story about how you took this from startup to really growing revenue tremendously, and maybe share kind of where you're at right now, how that story goes?
Totally. So, we were selling courses, and courses it's a hard market. Like it's good because it's easy to start, but that means it's bad because, all your students are going to copy your course and resell it. It's going to end up, for sale for $1 in Russia and all this crazy stuff. But like, so you end up getting really good at marketing because you have to be really good at marketing because the product is not that differentiated. And frankly, it's probably kind of just copied off of somebody else that you learned it from. And so, when the product's bad, the marketing has to be great if you're going to make any money. And so we learned to like scale ads, really well to just like eke out some profit. If you're kind of bad at ads, all of a sudden you have like no profit that month and you just, gave it all to Zuckerberg. And so we were kind of doing that. And we're like, tired of like, everyone stealing our stuff. And we're like, hey, like, let's kind of move over into software. There's like a bigger mode. It's harder to copy. Like, you can't just build a software company, with Keynote and Camtasia. And so we started building that, and fortunately, Proof actually worked. We put it on some of our friends' sites and their webinar funnels and lead magnets. And we're just like, hey, just try this pop-up thing, see if it works. Let us know the results. Got some really good results, and I think that's when we were like we've really got something here. Let's scale this thing hard. And for us, we knew that Proof was a pretty simple tool to build. So this isn't like a real robust thing. And there's also a huge viral component to it. And so, we get a lot of new trials from people seeing it on other people's sites, clicking through the link and signing up, for our platform that way. And so we kind of felt like this is the land rush and we're going to get a ton of competitors And again, we've got to just get to number one first and fast.
Yeah.
And so we just kind of came out with the mindset of like, let's just blow this thing up to land grab. Let's get like everyone in the market on it, really fast. People are going to see it everywhere. It's just going to like pick up like this like head of steam. And so we just took like the same ad principles that we were doing to run our webinars and run our, paid traffic funnels, for the course stuff, and just applied it over in SaaS. We had to kind of learn, more about how to manage recurring revenue and how to manage the cash there and what are some really good benchmarks, because that was all different, in SaaS than it was. We weren't getting that many upfront payments. So we definitely had to like figure out how do we pay for this thing? How do we float the ad spend? Like how much can we spend and still comfortable with? We ended up kind of coming with benchmarks of about like 3-to-1 lifetime value to CAC. Wanting to, basically spend $1 and eventually make $3 at the minimum. But we also knew that there's a huge virality component. It's like, well, that's just kind of like free. Like we couldn't really have like an easy way to kind of attribute all of the viral signups back to that user that we paid for. So okay, like 3-to-1, like we're probably going to end up at like 4-to-1 or 5-to-1. Like, we'll have good profit margins. So we just kind of hammered it, and we just said, let's just go and do it and scale it. And again, a lot of the things in the business were working. We had like a lot of expansion revenue. We got some of like the big, names in marketing that were using it. And like within 8 months, I think we got to 100K MRR, which was just like, way faster than we expected. Because of that growth, we got into Y Combinator because they kind of put in the product and like, I don't really get this thing or like where it's going to go. But, it's impressive growth. And so you're in. I think that growth allowed us to get, to raise money at the end of Y Combinator really quickly. We raised like over $2 million in less than a week. Because again, I think investors was like, well, growth is growth. So like, we would like to give you some money, if you can keep doing this. So I just think like growth unlocked a ton of stuff for us and just like leapfrogged us to like number one in the market. Like we kind of became like the social proof company. And then, now there's probably 1,000 competitors to proof, they just kind of like come and go all day long. And they never get more than, $5,000 or $10,000 MRR, as far as I can tell. I just think because like we are the brand that people have in their minds. And like we kind of have that like entrenched. And so I'm a big fan of just, like get to, quick scale as fast as you can, because it makes everything else a lot easier past that.
So it sounds like you grew quickly, and we're going to talk about that and the ads and the funnel and all that. But you built the brand, because I'm curious how beyond that, how have you been defensible against these other smaller copycats that have come into your industry? Because as you said, the tool is relatively simple. At least the first tool, the Proof. You said Plus, right?
Yeah, Proof Pulse.
Pulse, sorry. So that one you said is a relatively simple tool. Can't competitors just come and underprice you and then scale, or does that underpricing essentially make it harder for them to use paid ads to acquire customers because they just don't have the cash flow built into that?
That's a big part of it. Yeah, they just don't have a go-to-market strategy, and for whatever reason, brand really is powerful. Like being the dollar store version of Proof, it turns out, is not a great value proposition in the market. And at the same time, like, again, they've got no way to go to market, because you can't go to market hard with a $9 a month product. And so they're sitting there and they're like, hey, we built a pretty similar tool and it's cheaper and, whatever. And I don't even know, a lot of them are like really ghetto tools that you wouldn't want to use anyway. But that's why I think like you've got to think about like the market price relationship there and the marketing channel price relationship. And there's just some channels you're priced out of if you don't price high enough or have like a really great funnel. And so I just think they've just never been able to get any traction.
Right. So you grew essentially on Facebook ads, you said, right?
It's kind of all the different channels, but primarily our expertise and our expertise is in Facebook ads.
So tell us how you did that. Like kind of what was the ad strategy? What was the funnel that worked so well for you guys?
Yeah, so there's kind of 3 different funnels that we used that all of our competitors are going to spin up after they watch this. But there's kind of 3 that we used. One was, kind of higher intent. You just drive traffic at a homepage like page. And you and I have chatted about, drive traffic at the homepage. So either kind of the homepage, or we just kind of cloned our homepage and made, again, it was basically there, but we actually found, I just tested this again recently and saw like a 40 to 50% lift if I took off all the navigation at the top and like all the footer stuff, and really made it more of a landing page. And so it's not like they're not getting to the page and clicking around and everything. They're just like driving right there. There's only one place to go. So a homepage like page that we just took off all the extra stuff from, and just driving them straight to a trial. That's kind of like, funnel one, just like scoop up, the higher intent people. They're just ready to go. Like your 14-day trial is a lead magnet. Like it's easy to do.
Sure.
But then we had two that were like higher up the funnel. One would be like a demo funnel, like an instant demo where you just enter your email, watch a demo. It's like a 10-minute recorded demo. Below that, there's a button that just says, hey, sign up for, a free trial of this. That works well. And then the third one was like a lead magnet, which is just an ebook that was about conversion rate optimization. It was like, how we got 125% conversion rate increase on this landing page. And it was walking through like 5 different strategies to do that, one of which was proof. But the whole lead magnet was, driving you back into signing up for a trial for proof. And then additionally, like after you like entered your email for the lead magnet, the next page was like that same demo video, get a free trial of proof right now, limited time offer, all that stuff. And so the whole time we're definitely like driving to trials hard. Then we had kind of 3 different stages of the funnel, based on your intent that we would drive you into as well. And then the whole time just like retargeting hard, back into the bottom of the funnel.
Uh-huh. And within those testings that you did, I mean, I'm sure using your own product, right? Have you tested for yourself using proof versus not using proof on the proof landing page? Like, what kind of bump are you guys getting from there?
Yeah, I mean, we get a good bump. It's a little bit hard to know because, like, obviously it's the product that we sell, and so it's not totally applicable to other people. But at various times we test it, we'll get probably 20 to 40% lift,
Awesome.
from just having that on landing pages, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, that is cutting your cost per acquisition by that 20-40%. That's pretty significant.
Oh yeah, and I think too, like that was a big reason we were able to scale at the beginning too, because I mean, this tool, especially at the beginning, again, people hadn't really seen this kind of thing. Like I think it just worked better because it was so novel at the very beginning, and so it's like we just had better conversions than other people, that were trying to scale as well.
Nice. And so what else were you guys doing besides, you said Facebook ads, but you mentioned you got a lot of, leaders and influencers within the industry. Like I'm guessing that didn't come from paid ads. How did you get those people? Was it outreach or was it just your personal relationships? How'd that go on?
It was outreach. I mean, I didn't know many of them personally, but like I was kind of a player in the space, and people probably kind of like at least like knew who I was. I'd done some courses. I wasn't like a big name at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just made a list of like the top 50 and just said, hey, if we can get all 50 of these, we'll pretty much get the whole market. We can get Russell Brunson and Frank Kern and Amy Porterfield and all these people using it. They're gonna see, everyone's gonna see it on their pages and be like, wow, like everyone's using this thing. And so we actually ended up getting 2 advisors on, gave them a little bit of equity with kind of the sole purpose of, hey, I need you to help me like get in connection with these people and like help me get this on there. And that was a really great decision. Again, we gave up a little bit of equity, but like they like helped us get it on like all these people's sites. They gave us a ton of credibility, ton of influence, and just was able to launch really quickly.
So you mentioned in terms of the influencers, it being kind of those course creators and internet marketing guru type of people. Is that the market primarily, or are you guys kind of beyond that? Because I don't go to those websites too often. At least I did 10 years ago, early in my marketing career. But now in the SaaS world, I tend to see you on SaaS products and all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was like the initial market was just, our first ever headline was, social proof for ClickFunnels. And it was like just a ClickFunnels tool. And then like a week after we launched, ClickFunnels like saw that it was like working and like launched their own little like dumb competitor.
Really?
Like a little free like checkbox
you
can just check and it pops up. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, well, screw you guys, we're moving off that and we're going to go elsewhere. So then we kind of were like, okay, we're going to be for like all websites, but internet marketing specific and like those course creators and coaches and consultants and all that. But since then, we've kind of branched out into, a lot of agencies use us, a lot of like, even like local businesses use us.
Yeah.
It's kind of every industry for sure, but I think it still is predominantly a tool that's like used on funnels and like very like focused pages, not so much like on blog posts and stuff.
Uh-huh. Right. That makes sense.
Yep.
So we've kind of learned a little kind of what's worked on the growth. What are you struggling with? Like what hasn't worked, or what's your biggest challenge right now in the growth and marketing sphere?
I mean, scaling like to like really cold audiences, is definitely, hard. It's like we've been running ads for, 3 years now. We've tapped out, a lot of like the lowest hanging fruit. And it's like, now, I mean, for a while now, it's been like people that, have never heard of me, have never heard of us, maybe don't know who like these people are. And like, they just like want some conversion lift. And so I don't think that's a challenge. I think for me, probably the hardest part of ads is just like coming up and continually coming up with like good creative. I'm definitely of the mindset that I'm looking for like 1 or 2 or 3 ads that can run for a while and do most of the heavy lifting. But, I think you've got to do a lot of testing to get there. And so like, I just don't love that aspect of it, kind of need help. And kind of what I end up defaulting to is not nicely designed creative. Like I just kind of like screenshot it, drag a big arrow, big red arrow pointing at something. And it's funny, I'm helping this one company right now run their ads, and we did like a dynamic creative test, and they designed up some really nice stuff with their faces and all beautiful. And I was like, okay, like I'm gonna throw like 2 other things in there. I want to throw again, just like there's like a picture of there's like on their website there was like a little like section that was like talking about how much money savings you could have, and it was like save $832. I screenshotted it, like dragged a big arrow to it. I was like, throw that image in there. And then the other one was just like a screenshot of their app. Like inside the app, you just go to the dashboard, you just screenshot it. I was like, let's just throw that in there and see what happens. We just checked the results this morning, and both of those won. Overall, nicely designed stuff.
Not all surprised.
Yeah, and it was just like, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's kind of coming from like, like the internet marketing world. I mean, you kind of like gain a little bit of like an instinct for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think in the SaaS world, my biggest battles have been against designers that hate that.
Yep.
Just hate it. And I get it. They probably should. I probably, if I ever have a designer that likes that, I probably need to let them go. But it's just like, they want to make it all nice and pretty. And kind of the way I say it, sometimes I look at stuff and I'm like, we look like a JC Penney's. Like, this is just like so blah. It looks like we're like a clothing company or something. Like we need like edgier stuff that actually like cuts through the noise. And for me, I think that stuff's worked a ton. Have you seen that or
yeah, 100%. I was going to say within the agency and all the SaaS clients that we work with, we often have a competition going against the designers at the clients. And they always say, okay, let me create, like you said, this really pretty, perfectly on brand type of image. I'm like, all right, we'll test it. But like, I know you're going to lose. Like whatever I create is going to be better. And our approach, when we start with a new client is, from day one, you need to understand, like you need to give us some freedom to do stuff that doesn't necessarily match your brand. Meaning we're going to make sure we don't do anything to offend the brand. I wouldn't want to say anything that you feel hurts the brand, but we can't stick with brand always. To the extent that we can, yeah, absolutely. But what we do isn't necessarily always pretty, but you're hiring us because you want growth and you want results, and we know what's going to work. And often our clients are quite surprised. And when we work with some of the bigger companies, who have really already proven themselves in the market, you take an InVision, you take a DigitalOcean, who we worked with. Once you kind of get to those stages of, almost, unicorn status, even so, they don't want to let us have that much freedom, and it slows things down a little bit. It really stunts our ability to grow. But if you take, the mid-market people, just like, listen, we want to grow, we're willing to sacrifice a bit of brand. We could be way more creative, just like you said, and we'll always beat the designers.
I think like the Facebook's like dynamic creative definitely makes it way easier to do that. I mean, there was ways, before that to just kind of like throw a bunch of different ads and see like what wins. But it's like, we're throwing like 15 images in there. I'm like, just give me like 2 or 3 to like do some like crazy stuff with. And then it's like, well, you can decide like the bad image won. You can see like the cost per lead of that. Like I'm happy to scale either one. It's like, do you want to pay? Is it worth paying twice as much just so you can have this ad that you think looks a little bit better? But clearly, like, your customer doesn't necessarily care.
Right. And I think we both know the answer to that question.
Scale up the bad one.
Exactly.
But yeah, you just got to leapfrog the designers. It's like I just sneak this. I just sneak stuff in there. I'm like, I'm just gonna put this in there again with our own company.
Right.
It's like I'm just gonna sneak this thing in there, and then like you can decide, after you see the numbers, like whether you like it or not.
Yeah, and that's the good thing about being the boss. But even as an agency, like we generally just don't want the client's designers involved in the process. We'll work with the marketers who have hired us in order to get a result, and we're going to get that result.
Yeah.
And you can see all our creative, like they're not ugly, but they may not be the most beautiful. I always pitch, we're very creative, but not as like a creative agency that has this like amazing graphic design. We're creative in our ability to grab people's attention and communicate the message and the value prop that the client's promoting. Mm-hmm. It sounds like that's exactly it also.
Yeah, and like I'm a big fan of, I think I'm always pushing SaaS companies and ourselves to lead with results. Like I think there is a place for like a feature ad where it's like we've got these bells and whistles and all of that stuff. And there's probably a place for that. But I'm just like, you don't even have to talk about the product. Like we're just going to like talk about all the money that everyone that's used us has made. And, we're going to show screenshots of graph, going up and to the right. And we're going to show like, again, just like stuff that a marketer would be like, that's really, really exciting.
Yeah.
And they'll do anything. Like it doesn't, if they look at that and believe that maybe they could increase conversion rate by 30%, and it takes less than 15 minutes, it doesn't matter what's on the next page. They're going to sign up for it and use it. So I just think like I'm pushing to like lead with the big hooks and the big results. And like, we will tell them about the product later on as we kind of go.
Right. Although it sounds like your product lends itself a little bit more to make that easier. Other products, whether it's a CRM or a training platform or project management, like it's a little bit harder to show the direct measurable results in your team. You could talk about it's going to cut 5 hours from your team's processes and save time. Like that's nice, but doesn't quite excite people the same way as the charts that you could show of revenue growth. So.
Yeah. That's true. Not everything's a money making app.
Right. But awesome. Let me ask you, if you needed to come up with a new channel tomorrow, kind of what's on your radar as the next place to drive growth, whether it's, organic, social, paid?
Yeah, we started actually maybe a month ago, started testing and running ads on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
This is like every marketer is probably saying this right now.
That's our
actually getting really good results.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like our cost per trial is lower than all of Facebook and all of our Google ads, which is cool. Lower by maybe, I don't know, 25%. And so I don't know, like, yeah, trial sign up, which is surprising. And so I don't know, what scale looks like at LinkedIn. I don't know how much we can really, spend and all that. I haven't been real involved in it. But yeah, I think LinkedIn has been a place that, we're exploring more. And then YouTube is a place we've been exploring more. Uh-huh. There's been a few like YouTube intent audiences that have worked really, really well. That again, cost per trial is cheaper than, our Facebook audiences. And so again, I'm learning about that. We're experimenting a lot. A lot of stuff's not working as well, but we found a few that were like, okay, like this like is working well and is scalable. So I'd say like those are two platforms we're like playing around a lot more in.
It's funny. Those are the two platforms that I'm also playing a lot more around in right now. In terms of promoting the agency and pushing for clients, LinkedIn's been a big thing for us lately, and YouTube is definitely the next step. Do you think they're working well because you've kind of saturated your market over the last 3 years on Facebook, or are those areas where you think people should be looking from the start today?
Well, I mean, like guys like you and me are pretty in the ads game, and like neither of us is really in those channels. That tells me that like yet there's a ton of people on them. Yeah. So it's like, okay, like there's probably a little bit of an imbalance here around, the supply and demand of what's available there. And so like, I mean, there's, 40,000 Facebook ad courses and, I don't know, maybe like 40 good ones for YouTube and maybe 15 for LinkedIn. And so, I just think there's probably less people like trying it, and there's a lot of scale there. I think those ad platforms are probably like starting to pick up a little bit and like they're getting their act together. That's kind of my thought. I mean, what do you think?
I mean, I think so too. I mean, over the past year, we've been paying a lot more attention to LinkedIn and pushing it to clients. And even the content I've been creating, is very LinkedIn oriented for the past, 9 months at least. Facebook has been around for 10 years as a solid platform. And there's, a million Facebook ad gurus out there and agencies all doing that. So, as an agency, we saw the blue ocean in LinkedIn ads right now. And it's something that a lot of people aren't figuring out yet how to hack, and so we're trying to go really hard, and we've been getting great results with it. I'm actually curious how you've been doing that with your offering, kind of what your funnel looks like on LinkedIn. Are you sending LinkedIn traffic directly to your landing page for a trial start?
Yeah, and I don't have, again, I haven't been the one running this. I don't have it's quite as thorough, but yeah, I think we've just been running to our like landing page, and landing page pushing our product with like an email opt-in, and yeah, seeing good results there. So I don't even think we're not even running like an ebook there, running content. We could probably do it even better if we were doing that. It's kind of just the same ads we were running on Facebook. We kind of just tailored them over to LinkedIn and are running that.
And you're seeing a significant amount of activations after they sign up and using the product as well.
Yeah, I mean, not as much scale. Like, I don't know. We're probably spending, maybe $200 a day, over there. I'm not seeing, as much scale, but I think we're starting to scale that up and seeing trials for like $100, $120. But yeah, I need to look more into it, kind of like get my bearings on exactly like what we're doing and what's working, and like all the comparisons over to Facebook.
And I know you're saying you're not in the weeds of it, but are you able to target over there the bigger companies that you think ultimately will be able to drive more traffic and pay you more long term? Or is it just, let's just get everybody who's relevant just like you want on Facebook?
I don't know the answer to that.
Right.
I don't know the answer. I mean, we don't work great with really big companies. We got some companies that, will pay us a couple $1,000s a month, but the tool, it's a little bit of like a build versus buy situation where, like, you said, charge too much, and they're like, well, we could probably get like an engineer to build this in like 2 months and all that. So, we get to like a really big companies with Pulse, and it starts to become harder, with experiences. Yeah, we can work with like, 3,000, 10,000 person companies. Like, they're never going to build it themselves. And so, we're starting to like drive some more demos and stuff, through LinkedIn from there too.
Nice. Yeah, I'm very bullish on LinkedIn. There's a lot you can do, and I think free trial offers tend to work really well there. I think when you go straight to demo request type of offers, it doesn't work quite so well. But trials we've seen good success with.
Cool.
Yeah. What new product or feature would you love to see on the market that could make your life easier right now?
That's a good question. That's not out there right now.
Yeah. I was going to invent you something. New product out there. What should it be?
Yeah. I mean, there's a million tools that kind of do this. Like, I'm working with another kind of one-on-one coaching client that's trying to just set up, they've got Segment, and they're just trying to like set up their funnel to track it and to send the events, like the custom events, into Facebook and Google. And it has taken us like a week and a half to try and get this basic funnel set up. And I mean, everything was just a total mess. We had like multiple Facebook pixels and, this crazy stuff. But like, I don't know what the product is. Again, like Amplitude and Segment and Facebook, like, presumably are the solution.
Yeah.
But it has not been easy or fun at all. So I don't know the product, but that's the pain. That like I feel like that should have been done in an hour. And here we are. We've probably spent 30 hours ironing everything out. And we're there. Like, as of, I think, an hour ago, I think we're there. But yeah, that definitely is really hard. And like, I think most SaaS companies I talk to, I'll say, what's your funnel conversion? Like, tell me about the different key stages. And they have no idea. They're like, oh, we got Google Analytics set up. Like, you can probably find it in there, but like, they have no idea. And I'm like, I've talked to companies that have, 150 people, and they have no idea. And so it's like, I just think like that's definitely like a problem people are trying to figure out. That they're not doing well.
All right. Yeah, makes sense. Awesome. Let's jump into lightning round. Some quick questions. Learn a little bit more about Dave. So tell us about your family situation. Married, single, kids?
2 kids and married. Yeah.
Fantastic. What book would you recommend listeners to read? Your business book? fiction.
Dude, here's a recent book I just read. Golf is not a game of perfect. So
Okay.
I play golf, and this is kind of a mental game. So I know, a lot of people out there are not golfers and won't read that, but that's the most recent book I read that I really liked.
Okay. Awesome. What's your favorite marketing productivity tool right now?
Um, I mean, I've been using HubSpot a lot. HubSpot's, so fully featured, and I'm a big fan. I just think it's a nice tool, and
Okay.
yeah, you can kind of use it for everything. So I've been using that a lot. And then Webflow, we've been, using all the Webflow for all our pages and everything. It's just
Hmm.
been really nice.
Great. And who's one marketer that you're learning from, paying a lot of attention to these days?
Um, I've been learning YouTube ads from Alex Becker. You know him?
From who? What's his name?
Alex Becker.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to check him out,
He's
I guess.
doing a lot of yeah. He's got a something called Hyros, and then he's been doing a lot of YouTube ads, like seeing results. So I've been learning YouTube ads from him. I'd say in general too. I try to look at consumer brands and these like direct to consumer e-commerce brands to
Mhm.
see maybe like what's next for B2B. And I don't spend a ton of time looking at like B2B SaaS companies. I just don't, frankly, I don't think that they are very good at marketing. And so I look at like what are these companies that scale really fast to consumers, and like an example of that is like all this like user generated content, like the unboxing videos. And it's like working really well. Like how do B2B companies do it at the same time? We get a lot of ideas outside of the SaaS market.
Okay, great. Um, what's your favorite website or online community you're hanging out and learning from right now?
Um, Not really any right now, I wouldn't say. It's kind of strange, but I kind of go in waves.
Okay.
There's none that I'm really like, checking out that much, and mostly just like doing it right now. I'm just like in the weeds, just like getting stuff
Okay.
done.
Fair enough. Sweet. And where can people go to listen to learn more about you?
Yeah. Useproof.com. I think it's useproof.com/scalar die. Or you can try to Google Scalar die as like our podcast. And I haven't
Nice.
put any episodes recently, but there's a bunch of good stuff on there.
Yeah, I've listened to a bunch of episodes. They're really good. So definitely
Sweet.
recommend the Scale or Die podcast by Dave. That's something listeners, if you enjoyed this podcast, I'm sure you're going to enjoy that one even more. So awesome. Dave, this
Yeah,
has been
thanks, dude.
great. Really appreciate you coming on and sharing a lot of great tips with us.
Sweet, man. Thank you so much. Dude, good to see you.
Yeah.